All right, so it's been a couple of days of crappy weather, and we went to my cousin's and pulled the broke Turbo 400 out the El Camino, got it back together. We had to replace some bushings, some thrust washers, the front pump drive gear, and some other things. And we've got a torque converter ordered for the thing. We put a flex plate in it because it was bent. So there was a lot of carnage from that little incident. We got the U-joint replaced, which was the original problem, and got that ready to go. So we're waiting on parts for that. So we're out here today. It's a pretty nice day out here today. We got held up on the rear. We got a seized up brake adjuster here, which has been soaking for a couple of days. I'll work on it here in a little bit. But the biggest thing I want to do today, I've got parts in for the front suspension. So I fixed the rear part and put the rear seal in the transmission the other day while the weather was good, before the weather turned bad. So now what we're going to do is we're going to unbolt the transmission. We're going to jack the motor up, changed it, put the oil pump in it, oil pan gasket and everything. We're going to put a front pump seal in the transmission, put the torque converter back on, and put a flex plate in it, because when we mocked it up, we didn't put a flex plate in it. So we got do all that, and then while we got the engine out, we'll put ties on the brake lines across the front cross member and get them routed and neat and everything. So I'll show you that as we go, but we're going to get started on this thing, and hopefully by this afternoon when we get done, we'll have the front suspension on and have us a rolling chassis. So we'll see how far we get on that. Hopefully everything will go like we want to. So y'all stay tuned and I'll show you as we go along. We got the motor mount bolts undone. We got the transmission unbolted from the engine. So we're going to go ahead and pick this thing up. So I forgot that whenever I rolled this chassis back and I put the motor in, the chassis wasn't quite under the motor in the right spot. So when I pulled it out, I created a little issue, but I might see if I can, when I get ready to go back in with it, I can roll the chassis back a little bit more and get it centered underneath the gantry crane here. That way it'll go in a little easier, because I had to lean on it and work it, and it was fun. But we got it. But now we got this out. So what we're going to do first is we're gonna strap all these brake lines up where they go up underneath the engine, and then we'll work on the getting the oil pump in and doing the torque converter and all that stuff. So let's carry on, and we'll carry on. So the brake line from the factory, it bolts in this hole right here along the horizontal part of it. Well, we got these little stainless steel clamps and 1032 stainless steel button heads to bolt it down with. So let's get this thing bolted down and I'll show you. So we put the caliper line on, the hose, brake hose at the caliper on, so we can get our line in the right spot here. So let's get that tuned up a little bit. All right, we got that one. It's all tied down. Runs to the caliper line hose. All right, so we're gonna get this one over here. Already got it bolted to the line or the hose, and now we got to tie the line down. So, and there's that one, all nice and neat. Now on these lines right here, we got to use a clamp that holds 2 lines together. So we grabbed us a different kind of clamp for these lines. All right, so we got the lines tied up on the cross member. I use these insulated clamps here. I really don't like them, but it's what I could find locally. And maybe we'll switch them out later. Of course, I wouldn't want to try to tighten these down after the suspension's in, because it'd be really hard to get in there to the nuts to tighten them down. But we've got them now, so. And we need to put some more ties on the brake line here, but the fuel line's going to run with it. And I'm not going to run the fuel line until I get the cab on, and I can get to these from underneath the truck no problem. So, but I've got the ties back here on the rest of the brake line. So all the brake lines ran, and it's all tightened up and everything. I need to put a hold on that flex hose right there on the rear end. We'll figure that here later. It's not a big deal. So we'll get that done. But right now, we're gonna pull the oil pan off, put the oil pump on and all that. Got a flywheel here to go on it, or flex plate. Actually, we had another one. There's the box over there. We actually put on the El Camino yesterday, and this one come in yesterday afternoon, so we went and picked it up this morning to put on this engine here. But we're not going to put it on until we get the oil pump on, because that thing will make it hard to get to the oil pan bolts. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll get the front seal in, and then we'll bolt everything, drop the motor back in, bolt it to the transmission, and then tighten the motor mounts down. So hang tight and I'll show you. So I put my pump on, mocked my pickup up, and then tacked it on. I used to didn't do this, but I learned my lesson with the El Camino. It somehow or another, it dropped the pickup out into the pan. Luckily I had a pressure gauge on at that time and caught it. But yeah, I always tack them now. So we got that, we're gonna put it on. All right, we got the oil pan gasket on. We're gonna put the oil pan on. All right, we got the oil pan back on. So now we're gonna put the flex plate on, and then we'll be ready to put the front pump seal in the transmission and bolt everything back up. All right, so we got flex plate torqued on. That's a little tip here. If you put a pair of vice grips on your flywheel and lock them up against the block, you can torque stuff down without the motor turning over. So got that thing torqued down. And now we're going to put the front pump seal in the transmission and bolt this bad boy back in. All right, so we got our front pump seal in. And if you'll take your old seal, and put it over top of your new seal and tap your seal in and use your old seal as a driver, it makes it go in real easy. So I'm gonna put this torque converter back in and get ready to put this back in. All right, so we got the torque converter all seated down in the front pump, and we're getting ready to put this thing in and get it bolted up. All right. We got the transmission bolted back to the back of the motor. I don't have this bolt right here tight because I've got a transmission dipstick. I got to put a transmission dipstick in this thing. I'd ordered one, but I used it in the El Camino, so I got to order another one. So we'll get that one coming. But we ain't gonna tighten that bolt up until we get it in there. All right, let's get this thing on the mounts. All right, so we got this thing bolted all down. Mounts are all bolted down. Everything's bolted down tight. So this thing's in here. And I think it's in here for good. So anyhow, next video will show you assembling the front suspension. Y'all stay tuned. Thank you.